Humanity has lost its way in dealing with nature, and especially with its most important element, water. That is the premise for Claudiu Murgan's book, Water Entanglement. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So this is set in 2055.
Yes.
In Toronto. So it proposes, and it's an interesting, it's sci-fi meets the fantasy genre, where water has a memory and it fights back. Great premise.
Yes, I tried to write something different than all the other science fiction or speculative fiction authors. And I really wanted to make water alive and regain her memory and understand how much abused we put her through. And when we come to that point, she starts fighting back, and she changes her molecular structure. And here I use the concept from quantum physics, when a particle changes its behavior in one point, and it's half of that particle will change the behavior somewhere else in the world. So water will change her molecular structure in India, and then right away in Jordan, burning our skin. She goes after the CEO of the oil and gas industry companies by bringing their planes down. So I'm creating a concept where we really have to understand water and create that language where we can speak the same language, in fact, and gap that evolutionary distance.
I'm envisioning the James Cameron movie already. As a screenplay being developed for this.
Hopefully someone will do that.
Yeah, I know there's someone actually working on a screenplay for your first book. But again, this is a big, great premise, and there's a sequel already in the works.
Yes, Crystal Cloud will come out next year. In Water Entanglement, I'm using water and crystals as a healing method for people with medical problems. But I take that concept of embedded crystals into our body to the next level in Crystal Cloud.
Yeah, well, the premise is fantastical. The message is very real, very timely as well. I'm thinking of Greta Thunberg's speech at the UN, and she was recently in Canada as well, and you set this in Toronto.
Yes, there are many people trying to open up the minds of those which are in power and have their decision makers, in fact. I wrote this book with the idea of as another warning for the environmental crisis we're going through right now.
Among indigenous communities, women are referred to as the water keepers.
Yes, I like that concept. During my research, I understood that indigenous communities are the keepers of knowledge and also water keepers as well. They understand nature better than us. So even nowadays we have mothers and daughters walking many kilometers daily to gather water or replenish this resource for their families. They are more empathic. They don't start wars. They think twice when they make a decision. And they are more careful with our resources. So that's why we have to have more women in leadership positions, because they will be more careful with the environment and with whatever affects all of us.
Yeah, as opposed to the reality today and the corruption that's found in the fictional corruption in Water Entanglement. There's a fictional NGO in here, Water for All. And you bring up an interesting concept in terms of how NGOs could be perhaps more effective, because it's a consolidation of many NGOs under one umbrella.
Yes, nowadays we have a lot of NGOs, and they spread their energies on different projects. So my idea in the book is everything comes together under the United Nations umbrella. They put funds into one pool, and from there they decide one projects are more sensitive, and they attack one project at a time. In order to address the climate disaster. And also the corporations will have to stop what they are doing, and they will be compensated financially based on each project's worth. Yeah.
It's an important cause. Water covers 71% of the planet, and it's a great story. And it's available
Amazon, Chapters, Indigo. The audio version is available on Audible and iTunes, so please give it a try.
Great. Okay, we'll link up your website at chch.com.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Claudiu, for sharing.
Thank you.